CBS News Bay Area Afternoon Edition with Ann Mekovic.
Thanks for joining us this Monday. We start with developing news in Reno, Nevada, where there was a mass shooting at a casino this morning. 2 people are dead and at least 3 more are injured now in the hospital. The shooting happened outside the Grand Sierra Casino Resort in Reno at around 7:30 this morning. Police responded after reports of a man shooting a gun in the valet area. Police were able to find that man within about 4 minutes of their arrival, and then they got into a shootout with him. 2 people died from their wounds and multiple people were injured, including the suspect who was taken into custody and is now being treated at the hospital. Police in Reno say that some officers were also injured, though not from gunshots. We're going to be following this all throughout the day. And we are continuing to follow the aftermath of that mass stabbing at a Walmart in Michigan over the weekend, when police say a man stabbed 11 people rather. He is now being charged with several counts of terrorism and assault. They say Bradford Gilly entered the store with a 3.5-inch folding knife, stabbing 11 people standing in the checkout area. Witnesses jumped into action, cornering him in the parking lot until police got there a few minutes later. Other bystanders tended to those who were injured. The Grand Traverse County Sheriff says that he's proud of the people who were brave enough to intervene.
They were actually utilizing numbers and their available resources to get this individual in a position where he couldn't get away. I say kudos all day long, and not just one, multiple people. That speaks a lot for our community.
Well, that suspect is expected to be arraigned today. Back in the Bay, police in Oakland still looking for answers after a man was shot and killed outside an illegal nightclub, which was set up in a neighborhood surrounded by homes. Dalin has that story.
A residential neighborhood turned into a major crime scene as Oakland police search for the people who killed 23-year-old Fernando Castillo Rodriguez.
I just miss my cousin Fernando so much. We just love them so much, so I hope that no one else loses their kid to gun violence, because the way my auntie's going through it right now, it's just really hard to see.
Fernando's cousins Evelyn Roque and Luz Rodriguez say he lived in the apartment complex right across the street from the illegal nightclub. They say he was leaving the party to head home. He was caught in the middle of a shootout.
He got shot right in the front, and so when he got shot, he tried to run in. As he was running, I guess he wasn't able to make it all the way home, so he ended up on the spot over here behind us, where he sadly passed away.
He collapsed just feet from his front door. Neighbors woke up to a barrage of bullets around 3:45 Sunday morning. They say it sounded like 2 people shooting at each other. What did it sound like?
Like I'm just like bah, 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 like this. I said, oh my God, something's happened over there. Yeah, it's a lot of people coming over here.
Martin Munoz says he was one of about 60 partygoers inside the illegal nightclub when the shooting broke out.
People were getting along. There was no animosity. There was nothing. It happened out of the blue, and at least for us, we just panicked to try to make sure that we could be safe.
He says the club operator locked the gate and ran off, leaving partygoers trapped inside. Some jumped fences to escape through neighboring yards. Oakland police detained dozens of people because they didn't know who might have been involved in the shooting. Martin says most, if not all, were released after being questioned.
We heard like loud banging. I didn't think it was gunshots. I thought it was just people fighting.
Partygoers also say while they were locked in, one man overdosed. They say police dragged him out and saved his life. Neighbors say this incident didn't come as a surprise. They remember a shooting last year at the same club that left another person dead. The city shut the venue down for a year, but it reopened in May. The person who ran the club called it 85th Events and hosted parties every weekend until 6 a.m. Videos posted on the Instagram account showed lots of alcohol and what looked like a cannabis buffet. Fernando's cousins are disgusted the club reopened again. They're still in shock over losing him, a young man they say was kind, loving, and deserved so much more.
That place should definitely be shut down. You know, these kind of situations should be handled better. And if it's illegal for a reason, and it's not safe for people.
Well, we reached out to the person who ran the nightclub on Instagram, so far no response, and we are still waiting to hear from police on whether any suspects have been arrested in that case. Well, the Bay Area's microclimates are in full effect once again. Get a live look outside, see a little flyby by a seagull. Let's get a check on the rest of the work week's weather with meteorologist Jessica Birch.
Well, compared to last week around this time, temperatures are a little bit warmer for us as we kick off this week's forecast. We have upper 80s today and tomorrow throughout our inland areas, down into the low 80s as we head into our midweek forecast, and then averaging out with cloudy skies into this weekend into the mid 80s. That's pretty much where we're at widespread throughout our inland spots, from wine country all the way down into the Santa Clara Valley. But you head over into the coast and along the bay, we're also seeing a mixed bag of temperatures. Upper 60s mixed with the low 70s as we head into the next couple days with cloudy skies each morning.
All right, we are following a developing story, new information on the arrest of an airline pilot at SFO. A passenger told us law enforcement boarded this Delta flight and went straight to the cockpit and detained a member of the flight crew. It happened over the weekend. Well, now the Contra Costa County Sheriff's Office says that they arrested 34-year-old Rustam Bagwagger, you see here, on allegations of sex crimes against a child. They say it is the result of an investigation that started back in April. Detectives learned that he was due to fly into SFO this past Saturday evening. The sheriff's office says they were assisted by Homeland Security agents in making that arrest. The pilot is from Florida. He is booked into the Martinez detention facility. The sheriff's office says the victim is under the age of 10. New study sounding the alarm on a potential disaster in Berkeley. It says in case of a wildfire, it could take 4 hours for people to evacuate the city. It used the boundaries of the 1923 fire that burned more than 600 homes. Crunching the numbers with the current numbers of automobiles on the streets, the narrow and winding pathways would be packed with panicked evacuees.
Imagine with an emergency, possibly at night with smoke, people a little bit in a panic. The paths are going to be your best way down on foot.
The city recommends that people pre-evacuate their homes during extreme fire danger conditions, but a lot of people living in those neighborhoods would be unlikely to leave their homes unless there's a fire actively burning. A rally held this morning to speak out against homeless sweeps in West Oakland. Protesters called for the city to stop sweeps and displacements of people living in encampments and to offer all residents of the community long-term housing.
It's been stressful, actually. They don't really tell us where to go. They just tell us to go. They actually told us to come over here and be in this area, but now they're trying to move us from here, so where do we go?
Well, speakers say this is the 7th time these residents have been displaced in the city. Still ahead here at noon and streaming on CBS News Bay Area. 2 brothers killed in the fireworks explosion warehouse explosion in Yolo County are being laid to rest today in the Bay Area. We're going to have a live report. And coming up, the Niners back in pads today, which for the players means the training really begins. And let's take a live look outside before we head to break. It's a shot of a foggy Golden Gate Bridge. We'll be right back. Well, today, loved ones are laying to rest 2 brothers from the Bay Area who were killed in the fireworks warehouse explosion in Yolo County. 18-year-old Jesus Ramos and 22-year-old Johnny Ramos from San Pablo. Reporter Ashley Sharp live for us in Daly City, where people have been gathering to honor their memories. Ashley.
And it's been a quiet, somber day here in Daly City. It's the final of the funeral services for these 2 brothers, Johnny Ramos and Jesus Ramos, just 18 and 22 years old, like you said, killed in that fireworks warehouse explosion in Esparto nearly a month ago. I want to show you the funeral going, but look at the number of cars here. They're lined up, staged for the procession that will soon escort these brothers to their final resting place in Colma today. Over the weekend, both Saturday and Sunday, services were held in remembrance of the young men here at Doug and Sarah in Daly City. The brothers, both from San Pablo, they'd make that drive to work at the fireworks warehouse in Esparto in rural Yolo County. Sadly for 18-year-old Jesus, it was his first day on the job the night of the explosion. But today, it's about remembering the positive. 2 young men full of life, loved by their families. Jesus was about to be a father. Johnny remembered as the devoted older brother. 2 souls that will never be forgotten, leaving behind a legacy of love and laughter, survived by their parents, a sister, and another brother. I spoke with one of their cousins today who tells me the week before they died, they all sat down and were talking about their future plans and how they would always be there for each other.
And we were just talking about our futures, like what we want to do. And that's like when I saw them like have like a big smile, and like it just really touched my heart. And that was like one of my like memories that I'm gonna remember the most. I'm just gonna stick it up for them. I'm always gonna live up their names.
The Ramos family, as well as the family of another victim, Junior Melendez, have been the most outspoken, pushing for justice and answers since day one, gathering even at the road closure for days, waiting for updates about their missing sons until they were ultimately identified days later. Right now, the investigation into how the explosion happened and if any criminal wrongdoing caused it is still ongoing. The outpouring of community support from the Bay Area to Sacramento has been immense. More than $60,000 raised to help support the Ramos family and also fund their funeral services here today. They were grateful, obviously, for all of that community support. The brothers will be buried side by side today in Colma after the funeral services wrap up here in Daly City.
All right, such an awful day for that family. Ashley Sharp, appreciate your live report. Turning to our first alert weather now, taking a live look outside. You can see some sunshine if you go inland, just not around the coast. Let's check back in with meteorologist Jessica Birch.
Well, throughout the Bay Area today, we're seeing some warmer weather in our inland spots. Places like Antioch, over into Concord and Livermore are gearing up for upper 80s, or at least mid 80s, and even some 90s all the way off into the east. You head up into the North Bay, it's a mixed bag of 70s and 80s this afternoon from Vallejo all the way up into Santa Rosa. You head across the Golden Gate Bridge from the Marin Headlands, you're down into the mid-60s today, and along the coastline, we keep cooling down more and more with cloudy skies down into Half Moon Bay throughout this afternoon. You jump the mountains over into the Santa Clara Valley, though. San Jose today topping off at 78 degrees, 80s just along the foothills. So we're off to a pretty warm start in some of our inland spots as we head into this week's forecast, but it's still cool and cloudy each morning with misty conditions along the coast. That starts to pull back as we head into the afternoon hours along our shoreline, with misty conditions starting to push offshore into the evening hours tonight. Now, as we wake up tomorrow morning, we'll get a repeat of that once again for our Tuesday forecast. But it's wild to think that we're below average here in the Bay. Meanwhile, 188 million people across the country are dealing with heat alerts today as this major area of high pressure continues to shift its way over into the East Coast. So here in the Bay Area, while we're dealing with cool, misty conditions in the morning hours, lingering into the afternoon, we're actually going to see a beautiful mild forecast all week long. Temperatures a little bit below average heading into that midweek forecast. 80s by Wednesday in our inland spots, anywhere from Antioch all the way up into the North Bay, the Santa Clara Valley included too, and then you head all the way into this weekend's forecast. We'll see some sunnier skies as early as Sunday. Now, as we head over into the Bay, it's a similar setup. I mean, we're talking about upper 60s mixed with low 70s each day this week. Cloudy skies in the morning, misty conditions too. That'll clear up into the afternoon hours each day. Back to you.
Thanks, Jess. In San Francisco, officials today announcing some investments to improve a major corridor in the Sunset District, Sunset Boulevard. State Senator Scott Wiener says $1 million in state funding is going toward a recycled water irrigation project, and another $500,000 from Supervisor Joel Ingardio and Mayor Lurie for other renovations. The goal is to attract more people to the street that connects Lake Merced to Golden Gate Park.
As we make this investment, we're going to see more Sunset residents, more families really use it and enjoy it and have a place to go and enjoy themselves.
Officials also announced a new maintenance and workforce training program. It's a partnership between Parks and Recreation and Public Works. Football season soon going to be upon us, and for Niners players, it's starting to get real. The pads go on today at training camp. It's next level. The Niners getting ready for their first preseason game on Saturday, August 9th against the Denver Broncos. And you can watch that here on KPIX. Well, the community stepping up to support a baker whose passion pushes her through a difficult disability. Well, July is Disability Pride Month, and today we want to introduce you to a baker in Napa who has been selling home-baked pastries since the start of the pandemic. Well, things got a little more difficult 2 years ago. She was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, But despite that, she continues to live her passion. Suji Nam shows us how her community is stepping up to help.
They're layered with butter. These are aged cheddar and green onion.
Simple ingredients.
They're very unique. They're very time consuming.
That Rory Kandel has perfected.
Lots of butter, lots of buttermilk.
You'll find her in her kitchen, rolling up her sleeves bright and early.
Every Wednesday now we have a scone production day.
Making hundreds of pastries each week.
We're a bake-at-home bakery, so everything we make is frozen, meant to be baked by our customers.
With a dream in one hand and a rolling pin in the other, she opened Rory's Bakehouse in Napa during the pandemic. As a baker, she stands for hours in the kitchen, something that is becoming more and more challenging each day.
It turned out that I had multiple sclerosis. So at the time I was diagnosed, it was shocking, but I was very mobile and totally fine. 18 months later, even though I'm on all the medications and doing all the things, I am losing my ability to walk.
And that is why next to all of her baking trays and utensils, you'll find her cane right by her. Kandel can't easily lift her feet off the ground anymore, so she shuffles carefully around her kitchen.
As much as it's hard for me to admit that a wheelchair is likely in my future, and I need to make this kitchen ADA compliant because I am handicapped.
And that is when the community jumped in to help, donating money to help her soon renovate her kitchen for her physical needs.
How are you?
Madeline Karam is one of her many supporters.
It's our strawberry shortcake.
She is continuing, and she says, I'd rather transform this entire space, put a lot of money into making it work for her so she can continue to do what she's passionate about.
Even being able to walk to her freezer outside, she does not take for granted.
And we have a very stocked freezer here.
From making cookies to scones.
So this is our strawberry vanilla scone.
Nothing is holding her back.
Showing my kids really that anything is possible. It's gonna make me cry, but really, I just want them to know that if you have a dream, that you can't, like there are so many things that can get in a person's way and so many things that can stop you, but if you wake up every day and you just tell yourself you're going to overcome those things little by little, coupled with the fact that I have the most incredible support system, you can really overcome so much.
Pushing herself every day, baking through the barriers.
Still ahead here at noon, some precocious pups took to the waves in the UK and broke some records in the process. The Dog Surfing Championship coming up next. In advance of the World Dog Surfing Championship coming up in Pacifica later this week, some adventurous pups caught some waves in the UK over the weekend. The dogs and their owners competed in a 50-meter paddleboard sprint, showing off their balance, bravery, and personality. A whippet named Margot won the competition, stealing the show in the process.
Awesome, totally stoked. Just, lost for words. I can't, honestly. It's down to Margot and her being so patient on the board with me, and just dug deep and had some fun with it.
The event made history as well, with the canine competitors breaking 3 Guinness World Records. Okay, and locally we're going to see that world competition coming up on Saturday at Lindemar Beach in Pacifica. That's going to do it for us at noon. Remember, we're streaming 24/7 on the free CBS News app.